Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Good Way podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Quinn, and joined today is a special guest, Jay Motty from Stretford Paddock. How's it going, Jay? Good to have you back on.
Yeah, good to be back on, man. Good stuff. Looking forward to the game on Thursday night. It's a big one, isn't it?
Huge one, and I believe you're going to it. Is that right?
Well, I'm going to Barcelona. I ain't got a ticket yet, so we'll have to see how that pans out. Hopefully, I can get one when I'm there. But yeah, I'm going to make the trip and take the plunge, and we'll see anyway. Because I think it's been a bit difficult to get tickets for a lot of people who haven't gone through United and got any away end because of what happened. I think it was the Frankfurt game where Frankfurt fans just invaded the new camp. So they're being a bit stricter at Barcelona now with tickets or people buying tickets from abroad or whatever. So we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, but worst case scenario, I'll just have to find somewhere in Barcelona to watch it. It's not the end of the world, is it?
No, definitely not. It's one of the most beautiful cities in Europe, so I'm sure you'll enjoy it no matter what. So we're going to do a preview of the game, and then we'll talk about a few other things around the club. So one thing that most fans probably missed is that Marcel Sabitzer is suspended for this game. I think he picked up 3 bookings in the Champions League group stages. Is that correct, or have I got that wrong?
No, you're right. He is suspended for this game. I didn't realise until after the Leeds game, I think it was, where people were pointing out, you know what, we've got no Sabitzer for this game because when he was at Bayern Munich, he like you just said there, he picked up 3 bookings or whatever reason is, he too many bookings, so he's suspended for this game, which is a little bit frustrating because Casemiro's coming back, and against Barcelona, you want as strong a team as you can have. We're already missing Martinez, so to miss Sabitzer, who's looked decent, I think, as well in a United shirt, it is a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, it is frustrating, but it's a relief that Casemiro is able to play in this one. So it's obvious who's going to play in the midfield too, and that's going to be Casemiro and Fred. You would have thought. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
I
do you think?
mean, yeah, definitely. Solo in the chat there. He's a Fred's biggest fan. He'll be buzzing. That's happening. Yeah, I think that when you look at it now, we haven't got any other options. You've got Danny van der Beek's out. I know he doesn't play a lot, but he was getting into the team. And he's out. Ericsson's out. Sabitzer's suspended. Who else? McTominay's out. So who have you got? Who have you got left? You've got literally Casemiro, Fred, and Bruno. I think unless you're going to go with one of the youngsters, maybe Zidane Iqbal or whoever. But are you going to throw them in at the new camp? Probably not. And then you look at it, you go, okay, maybe you can play Victor Lindelof in midfield. He mentioned that in a press conference a little while ago. He's been trying him in midfield. You don't try, it's a bit of a stretch to try him in midfield against Barcelona away. So I think you have to look at Eric Ten Hag and go, I've got 3 midfielders available. I'm going to have to go with him. I'd be very surprised if that wasn't your midfield 3 on Thursday night. Bruno, Fred, and Casemiro.
Well, here's the lineup that I think that Ten Hag might go for, although it is extremely hard to predict. Ten Hag's 11s, and there's surprises in there. So going on who's available, I think this might be the team. De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka at right back, Varane and Shaw at centre back, Malacia at left back. Then the midfield of Casemiro, Fred, and Bruno, and then a front 3 of Sancho, Rashford, and Garnacho. I do accept the fact that Wakehurst could well start the game, but I think you might go for a fluid front 3 away in the new camp. So what do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I've gone a slightly different. I've on my predicted 11 for the Paddock channel. I went with Weghorst. I went with Rashford, Weghorst, and Sancho. I don't understand what you mean about the fluidity, and I just looking at it, I think, is he going to start Garnacho in the new camp? I'm not sure. I think Weghorst, although he's not really been amongst the goals, does okay, and I think he did relatively well. He did very well actually towards the end of the Leeds game at Ellen Road, and I think that he's a player that if you're up against it, which I think we might be a little bit in this game, he can sort of do a little bit of defending from the front. He is very energetic. He is quite physical. He does press quite a lot, which in this type of game could be ideal because, listen, in the modern era, everyone loves players that press, and it used to be called closing down in my day. And obviously, Eric Ten Hag's brought him in because he can do that. You'd probably want to see more of him in terms of goals and stuff, but that works quite well in the modern game for certain games, especially. And I think this is one of those games when you've got a Barcelona team who, I think someone in the comments saying, I think it's Hazufa, saying how they're flying. They are, I think they're 11 points clear in the league or something stupid. Other than the Champions League issues they had, obviously, because he drops out of the Champions League. That's why we're playing them in Europa. Other than that, they've been flying. Very, very solid defensively, and obviously they can, they've got goals in that team, especially with Robert Lewandowski. So I think someone like Weghorst for a game like this could work because it's going to be one of those games where you are going to be up against it quite a lot. I do think we're going to have to chase the ball quite a lot, and he might be that guy for that. So it'll be interesting to see. I wouldn't be surprised if he did drop him because, like I say, the one flaw in Weghorst's game so far, anyway, United has been his lack of goals. He's got the one goal, I think, against Nottingham Forest in the Carabao Cup. It was a bit unlucky, I thought, against Leeds because was his offside goal, was that not a little bit harsh? Because didn't it come off the Leeds defender, I think? I'm not sure.
I think you're right.
Offside, technically. I think if you're going to stick to the rules, he wasn't. But I think either of the options, the front three you've gone with, or, what I've predicted, I think makes sense.
Yeah, he excelled when he was dropped to number 10 at the weekend, played the CAMP NOU role, would you believe? And he assisted Garnacho's goal, but he also played a role in creating other chances in the second half. So that could be something to watch going forward. You might see more of Weghorst in that number 10 role. It's not something that any fan prior to Sunday would have anticipated, but Ten Hag is a brilliant coach. By the way, I know I've said this in the previous show, but Ten Hag was the one who turned the game around on Sunday with his substitutions and changing a few players around into different positions. And we just started to dominate then, didn't we? So it was great to see.
Yeah, he did, and he's very, very good at that. It's you look at when he has to make changes, he makes them. Like you say, Weghorst and someone else in the comments is talking about him. He seems to really do well in number 10. Maybe there is a situation where Weghorst goes into that number 10 role and Bruno perhaps goes onto the right-hand side. He's used him there before. I'm not sure. And Marcus goes up front. Could happen. Wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility. I just wonder whether, just for this game in particular at the new camp, he just sort of sticks to a slightly more, I don't know if reliable is the right word, but sort of more established front three of having Weghorst there, who has played a lot of games since he's come in. Marcus on the left, and Jadon Sancho is now back in the team on the right-hand side. I don't know if that might be something that just sort of perhaps is a little bit of a more safer option.
So you'll think he'll go for the more experienced front three and maybe bring Garnacho on after 70 minutes or so when Barcelona legs are tired?
Yeah, I mean, he's good at that. Any Garnacho stretching the opposition, stretching the defence. You can do it through the start, but especially as a substitute, we've seen it. What the impacts he's had late on in games, both against Leeds and against Fulham as well. I think against Villa in the cup. So yeah, I'd be all for that. I think if there was like one goal in it, or even if there's 2 goals in it, like if we were chasing the game and you brought Garnacho on, you'd fancy him to cause Barcelona problems. I know they're so solid defensively. I think they've conceded something like 7 goals in La Liga this season, which is just ridiculous record. But I think Garnacho can stretch anyone. And also, I think if you've got the likes of Marcus Rashford and perhaps Alejandro Garnacho running at you, that could cause you problems no matter how good your defence is.
Yeah, before we continue, can everyone please subscribe to the channel, drop us a like on the video, and get more comments into the live chat. Yeah, it's a pity that Sabitzer's not going to play this game because I'm really looking forward to seeing him play alongside Casemiro, and it'll be interesting to see what midfield he picks when everyone's available, apart from Eriksen, obviously, for the cup final. Will he go for Sabitzer or will he go for Fred in that match? Because another thing that I missed at the weekend is that I forgot to mention on the last podcast was that Sabitzer played a big role in that Marcus Rashford goal at Leeds. Lovely switch of the play out to Shaw, who obviously provided the cross then for Rashford. So Sabitzer, I think there's a lot more to come from him. I know we're not going to see him on Thursday night, but I'm really looking forward to what he's going to bring to the table in the second half of the season. But yeah, So coming on to Barcelona, they're picking up a lot of 1-0 wins. They're like George Graham's Arsenal at times this season. Um, do you think that our main problem is not going to be Barcelona's attack? It's going to be breaking them down, quite possibly. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you've hit the nail on the head there. They're so sort of solid defensively. It's almost easy to ignore that because you look at Barcelona and you look at some of the players they've got. You know, they've got Dembele, they've got Lewandowski, they've got Jong, of course, creative players, goal scorers, those types of players. And you go, you know what, Barcelona, they can get at you, they can cause you issues. But breaking that defense down, I mean, I think it's the most or so effective defense in Europe. I think in terms of the top leagues, I think no one's conceded fewer goals than Barcelona. I think you have to go some distance. I think it's about another 6 goals or whatever before you get to someone who's the second best defensively in Europe. So it is going to be hard, and you've got to be at the top of your game at Manchester United. It was funny because pre-season or in the summer, people looking at Barcelona and going, "Oh yeah, they've got all these problems. You know, the financial problems. They want to sign players they can't sign. They want to keep hold of players they can't keep hold of. Is it all going wrong for them?" But you look at how well Xavi's done there as a manager. You know, they're just flying, and they're flying in the league, which is La Liga. I don't think it's La Liga as the division it used to be a few years ago, but it's still a league that more often than not gives you a Champions League winner. It's still got some very good teams in it. And you look at the way Barcelona are going about their business this season, it's hard not to go into this game, in my opinion anyway, being a little bit apprehensive because you're up against one of the top sides in the world.
Yeah, I would definitely take a draw in this game, as somebody says in the comments. I think it was Matthew. A score draw would be ideal. A win would be even better. But people think because it's not the vintage Barcelona under Luis Enrique or Guardiola with Messi, Neymar, and Suarez up front, they're not scoring goals as regularly as they used to. But they'll be a tough nut to crack. They're keeping clean sheets, like you say. They're winning games. They're top of the league by a mile. And I know that there's a reason why we're playing them, and that's because they finished third in the Champions League group with Inter and Bayern. And they were shambles against Inter when I watched them. But I think they've improved since then. And they're going to be, we're not the finished article by any means. So I think it is going to be a tight affair over these 2 legs. Barcelona, I think, are slight favourites, but hopefully we can shade it and beat them and get through. But here's a statistic that I wasn't aware of. I don't know if you're aware of. The only 2 United players to score in the new camp against Barcelona is York and Cole. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can believe that because Stephen Allison just told me that stat a little earlier. He asked me that question about 3 hours ago. So yeah, it's in that one game as well, wasn't it? Back in the 99 season. Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that historically we've struggled there. We've had difficult times there. I remember in the mid-90s, was getting turned over once where we had the 3-4 rule, to be fair, though. So that wasn't ideal because you had to play a lot of youngsters, players like Nicky Butt when I think he was about 19, 20 when he was playing in the new camp. But yeah, it's a bit of a concerning stat, bit worrying. I know it's a cliche though, but history does go out the window a little bit because if you look at it, you could go, well, okay, we last time we were in there, 2007, 2008, we played him and we drew 0-0 away from home, but then we beat him at Old Trafford in the return leg, so we got through that way. So it doesn't mean that it's important. Doesn't mean 2 things. Doesn't mean it's impossible for United to win. But even if we don't get a result there, this is a 2-legged tie, and we've seen United do that before, where we've gone to Barcelona, got a 0-0, come back and beat them 1-0 at Old Trafford. Something like that could well happen again. I don't think that's beyond the realms of possibility. It's going to be very difficult, but it's not impossible. And I think that this Manchester United team, even though it is going to be a little bit makeshift because you're missing Martinez and you're missing Eriksen or Sabitzer as it will be now, and obviously Martial, who's just been that long-term injury, even though when he comes in, he's always seems to get injured straight away. People have almost forgot about him. So it is a bit makeshift, but despite all those factors, I still think there's a puncher's chance for this Manchester United team because we have beaten some good teams this season. We've beaten City, we've beaten Arsenal when they were, well, they still are top of the league, but when they were flying, we were the first team to beat them. Liverpool, of course, I know they're a bit erratic this season, but we've beat them. So there's been results where you can look at and you go, okay, United on their day, on our day, we can give anyone a game, including Barcelona.
Yeah, if any player, any current player, he's going to add his name to the illustrious list of players who've scored against Barca and Nou Camp for Man United, it's going to be Rashford, isn't it?
You'd think so.
I
I mean,
think
he's
so.
just on fire. Obviously, this is going to be his toughest test yet. I think Barcelona away, probably the most difficult game he's had this season, certainly this season. If you look at form and the way teams are playing and the players they've got, but he scored goals against anyone. Scored against City, scored against Arsenal twice, scored against Liverpool. These are teams that, especially Arsenal, City, were top of the two top teams in the Premier League. So there's no reason why he can't get a goal. He just needs chances. You've seen against Leeds at Ellen Road. He's having a very quiet game, I thought, Marcus Rashford. I thought it was one of his worst games this season. He gets a chance and he scores. So you just need to give him the chances. That's it. If we can create something, even if it's one chance, I'd fancy Marcus Rashford to put it in the back of the net.
Yeah, and he's starting to add headers to his game, left-footed goals, left-footed assists. How much is this down to Benny McCarthy, do you think?
This is the funny thing, right? If truth be told, right, we've no idea. I don't know whether Benny McCarthy has had a massive effect on Marcus Rashford because I'm not in training with Marcus Rashford and Benny McCarthy. But you can look at it and you can go, it does seem quite a coincidence that Benny McCarthy comes in and all of a sudden Marcus Rashford is scoring heading goals, he's scoring different types of goals, he's scoring constantly. That to me is more than coincidence. There's got to be something there. So it seems as though Benny McCarthy has had a positive influence on Marcus Rashford. There's a reason that Eric Ten Hag wanted to bring Benny McCarthy in. Seems to have worked. Whatever he's doing with Marcus Rashford, he's getting good results by it. He's getting him to score or helping him to score every week, I should say, because most of the credit, if not all of it, has to go to the player himself. But you've obviously got a player there that's willing to listen, that's willing to train, willing to work hard. Had a bit of a stinker last season, but this season it's been a complete 180. He's been as good this season as he was bad last season, and this is the Marcus Rashford that many of us always knew was there. We saw it when he first burst onto the scene. We saw it under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, not as consistently, but he did get over 20 goals in 2 seasons under Ole. This season, the way he's going, he might even hit 30 goals, and if he can get to that 30 goal mark, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, and I think he will get there. I would love to see him add a goal in the new camp to his CV. That would be fantastic. And of course, a goal at Anfield would be even better on the 4th of March. So,
Yeah,
another,
that'd be the icing on the cake.
yeah, definitely. Another player who's playing in this game, who will be playing for Barcelona, but could have been playing for Manchester United, and you know exactly who I'm going to be talking about here, and that is Frankie de Jong. Is this going to be an audition
Never heard of him.
for Old Trafford? Yeah.
Frankie de Jong,
Yeah.
we did about 500 stories on him during the summer. Possibly. I mean, listen, I don't think Frankie de Jong needs an audition. Eric Ten Hag loves him, doesn't he? He wanted him. I think he was his transfer priority. And at one point, it looked like he was going to come to Old Trafford. I think Barcelona accepted a bid for him, but he didn't want to leave. Whether it was just because he wanted to carry on playing for Barcelona, which is one thing, or it was the money. Apparently, he was owed 70 million quid in wages that he was expected to walk away from, and he wasn't willing to. I don't know, but Frankie de Jong, he's a hugely talented player, and the fact that Eric Ten Hag was so keen on him does worry me. It worries me. I've seen a little bit of him this season, not a lot, I'll be honest with you. But if you've got a manager like Ten Hag who knows a good player when he sees one, and he's eager to bring him to Old Trafford, there's a reason behind that. So I think Frankie de Jong could be someone we have to keep an eye on, because we know he's that sort of player who can orchestrate things, who can create chances, who can sort of get a team going and help to dictate the play. So you just need to sort of maybe get in his face a little bit. Hopefully with someone like Fred, who's very energetic, Bruno's energetic as well, and Casemiro's solid, we'll have a midfield that can cope with anything Barcelona's got to offer.
Yeah, and United fans who don't watch Barca regularly will get to see de Jong at close quarters now, and get to see what we're missing or on what we could potentially have in the summer. Because, obviously, Bellingham, Rice, Enzo Fernandez is already gone to Chelsea, so the market's getting smaller for like a world class midfielder who's met. One of the players that we're expected to sign is another midfielder. As good as Eriksen and Casemiro have been, they are both turning 31 this month. I actually think Eriksen is 31 today. on Valentine's Day. So obviously, ideally, we want someone who's like maybe in around the 25 mark or a bit younger. So De Jong fits that profile. And we know that Ten Hag loves him, and Ten Hag's hit rate has been amazing so far. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back in for him in the summer, because it seems as if Barca still want to sell him. They want the money for him to raise cash for other players. So it wouldn't shock me at all. But do you know what? I don't want another saga that drags on until the 31st of August. Either we do it early or don't do it at all. I just can't bear another summer of us doing 50 videos about De Jong.
I know, it just got a little bit tiring, didn't it? Especially when it was like the same story over and over again, which was basically that, we wanted him. Barcelona were willing to sell him, but he wasn't willing to walk away from Barcelona for whatever reason. And it just kept going on and on and on in the same story, just rewritten by various journalists, to be honest with you. There was never any sort of progress or movement on that. And it sort of became evident towards the end of the transfer window, this wasn't going to happen this summer or in January. Maybe next summer it does.
Yeah, so other threats for Barca, there's a very obvious one up front, Lewandowski. But apart from De Jong and Lewandowski, who do you think will pose the biggest threat on the night?
It's a good question. I mean, they've got a lot of players who can, on their day can cause you problems. There's Gavi, there's Rafinha, who's not, is a bit inconsistent, but you know what he's capable of. The other midfielders, where you look at Kessie or Pedri, they're quality players. It's for me with Barcelona, they've got a lot of quality there and a lot of good players. But it's like, if you think of one, you think of just Lewandowski, you think, we keep Lewandowski quiet, then someone like Gavi can cause you problems. If you think, well, De Jong's the one who makes the midfield tick, well, you'll have someone like Pedri who'll get on the ball and get a goal or create something. So it's like that you've got an entire team where they're so solid defensively, they're so creative in midfield, and they're so much of a threat in attack. You have to be careful. I think the one that obviously stands out, if you had to pick someone, just because of the amount of goals he scores, is Lewandowski. I think he scored 23 goals this season plus 6 assists. And also of who he is. He is one of the great players of the modern era. He's a goal scorer in every sense of the word. He can get his head on things. He can score with either foot. He's just a player that just constantly gets goals and has consistently got goals over the past 14 seasons or whatever it's been at the very highest level. So you have to be mindful of that. He's going to be a problem. But like I said, you cannot just focus on Robert Lewandowski, because Barcelona have got quality throughout that team. You don't get to where they are in the Liga with that big points gap at the top if you haven't got a class team. You don't get there just by having a class striker. You need more than that, and they've definitely got more than that.
Yeah, Pedri scored at the weekend away at Villarreal, assisted by Lewandowski, and we know ourselves how difficult it can be to score goals away at Villarreal or against Villarreal at all. So that's impressive. And obviously Gavi is a great young player, lots of potential in their team. And of course they have Ferran Torres, who we're familiar with as well, Ansu Fati, who's been linked with United, and Sergio Roberto. Yeah, so many young players with potential, and that midfield looks very strong, doesn't it? Frank Casse, De Jong, and Pedri across the midfield there. That's so Casemiro, Bruno, and Fred will definitely have their work cut out. I think it's absolutely crucial we have Casemiro for this match, especially with Sabitzer missing. So I'm so glad that he's going to be available for this. He's going to be so used to this type of occasion in Spain. I'm sure the Barca fans will give him a warm welcome, no doubt, being a 5-time European Cup winner at Real Madrid.
I'm sure of it. Yeah, I'm sure he'll get a standing ovation when he walks on the pitch.
Yeah. So I'm really, really looking forward to this match. Hopefully it doesn't turn out to be another 1-0 win for Barca. Hopefully there is goals and entertainment, and hopefully most of the goals come from us. But I mentioned earlier that I want a score draw if the game is a draw, but maybe that's not even important anymore, because hasn't the away goals rule been abolished, or has it been brought back in? What's the latest on that?
No, I think the away goals rule has been abolished. So, you can lose 1-0 away at Barcelona and win 3-2 at home, or and it's 3-2 at home, and it's level. So the away goals thing isn't an issue this season, which is good to see. I think so anyway. I think I'm not a massive fan of the away goals rule, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it causes more problems than it solves. I know we've had situations in the past where it has helped us, and we've had other situations where it hasn't. I think you can argue it sort of evens itself out, but I just think it's a bit of a nonsense. And I think too many times in games where you go into that first leg and it's all about, if you're the home team, not letting them score, not letting them have the away goal. And if you're a away team, it's like, get that away goal. And I just think it's a bit nonsensical. Just have it as a level playing field. So yeah, as far as I know, I don't think the away goals rule counts anymore, and I'm pleased with that.
Yeah, I am pleased with that. But obviously, it does benefit at times, like it did away in PSG 4 years ago. So I just want to come on to a separate point, which is the pending ownership change. We seem to be getting closer to a resolution. Matthew brought it up there. He said, "Hey guys, current thoughts on the ownership takeover rumors? Is there a preference between the bids we believe are going ahead?" Yeah, everybody has their own preferences, and they have their own reasons. Me personally, I don't want to see Manchester United being used for sports washing. But then again, the pool of honest moral billionaires is very very small, if they even exist at all. And then this talk of Jim Radcliffe is going to be being bankrolled by J.P. Morgan and stuff like that. Transferring the debt from United to Ineos or something. It doesn't sound as appealing now. And then there's the left field link to Elon Musk. I believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
I really don't see that happening. Maybe it's just him putting that rumor out there, Jay, because he loves attention. But like you said on your own show, if Elon Musk did come in, he's very eccentric. He's very hands on. He loves to sack people. And the last thing we want is Ten Hag being removed from his post, given how well he's doing. So there would be a worry for me, despite Elon Musk being one of the richest men in the world. I'd be afraid that he'd come in and make too many changes. So who would you prefer to come in then, Jay?
I mean, they're all flawed, aren't they? Like, all of them. It's whether it's Elon Musk, who I think at Twitter has been a bit of a lunatic, whether it's Jim Ratcliffe, who you talk about the debt still carrying on. I don't want us to be sports washing. I think that's my priority. If I had the least preferable one would be anything to do with sports washing. I think that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, while there are issues there around the debt and stuff, he does seem slightly more preferable than some of the other names that have been bandied about. So yeah, I think that is probably the way I'd go. But I have a feeling that it's going to end up being a sovereign state. I do. I think that there's talking that the Qataris coming in with massive money. You can already see journalists and certain publications just sort of doing client journalism, basically talking about the Emir of Qatar has always been a United fan, which is a load of rubbish. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's how it ended up.
Well, my next question to that is an obvious one, and it's Qatar already own PSG. How can United and PSG play each other? Surely there'd be a clear conflict of interest. But from what I've heard from one of the Sky Sports reporters is that Red Bull have found a way around this by having different people as a CEO of Salzburg and a different person as CEO of Leipzig. So that's how they find a way around this. So the PSG chairman will not be the chairman of United; it'll be some other character, and that's how they easily get around these UEFA rules. But we all know it's just basically the same people owning the clubs, so I'm not fooled by that. I don't like a situation when we're involved in a conflict of interest with another club. I just
No, I don't either. I think it doesn't sit well with me at all. So no, I agree with that. It just there's a lot of sort of shady stuff going on here, isn't there? And there's a lot of things where you look at it, you go, this isn't great, and there's a reason to not like this one. There's a reason to not like that one. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with them. But yeah, there's a few sort of question marks around a few of them.
Yeah, I noticed there's a lot of young fans online who just have no interest in human rights or anything like that, or sports washing or anything like that. They just want United to have the most money in the world and buy the best players, get Mbappe and Neymar and buying them to come to United. That's all they really care about. But us older fans just want to see a responsible owner who's has the best interests of the club at heart and isn't trying to use United as a vehicle to distract from what's going on in other parts of the world. And we don't want to be in the same situation as City, Newcastle, and PSG. And I know that, like I said earlier, trying to find a moral billionaire is almost impossible, and it is going to take billions to buy United. Not many people, have that kind of money. So, in my personal opinion, I would still probably prefer Jim Radcliffe, and second choice would probably be Elon Musk if that's realistic. But apparently, it's going to be 20 people bidding, but I'm sure quite a number of those are not going to be serious bidders, and they're just people trying to raise their profile. But there's downsides to all of these, and you're never going to get the ideal owner. Someone who just wants to come in and do the right thing. Pump all his billions into the club, and expect nothing in return. And who's his biggest fan is what we are. That's just never going to happen. So we just have to hope for the least worst option, don't we?
Yeah, that's it. I think you're right, bro. 100%.
Yeah, so it has been.
That's it. Yeah, but the least worst option. But we'll wait and see. And then obviously you can make moral judgments when you know what the outcome's going to be.
Yeah, no doubt we'll be doing. You'll be doing a show, and I'll be doing one whenever the new owner takes over. Just one last thing. Did you hear this rumor that the Glazers, when they sell United, want to buy Liverpool?
I hope so.
That would be fantastic.
Honestly, can you imagine? That'd be hilarious. After they were giving us grief and the Glazers in and all that.
Yeah, for what is it? 18 years, the Liverpool fans have been chanting Glazers in, and that would be something else if they ended up down the road and took over their club. And then people have said, I mean, the Glazers have spent millions on players. What are you crying about over there at Old Trafford? They just don't understand.
No,
but they will
don't.
understand.
The money that's been wasted and the debt we're in and everything else. The way the club's been allowed to sort of, fall behind in the training ground and the stadium and everything else, and the fact we've let our rivals steal a march on us. So yeah, they don't understand at all. It's annoying.
But they'll soon understand if the Glazers take over at Merseyside, and they'll understand then, all right.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be hilarious.
Definitely. So hopefully we can get at least a draw on, or even, I suppose a 1-goal loss wouldn't be the worst result in the world, and get them back at Old Trafford and get through to the next round. And hopefully Ten Hag can pick up a trophy at the first attempt. He's already got to the first final possible. Now we want to go one further and win that match. Have you got a ticket to Wembley, Jay?
Yeah, I have actually. I have. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That'd be great to get that first bit of silverware in the bag under Eric Ten Hag. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, and that's not going to be easy either. That's another team who defend very well and don't concede many goals. So hopefully we can get the job done. So it's been fantastic to have you on the show, Jay, again, and hopefully we can have you on again sometime.
Yeah, definitely. It's always a pleasure, Kyle, of what you're doing on your channel, and keep going strong. And yeah, we'll chat to you again soon, man.
Definitely, and I believe you maybe I've got this wrong, but were you over here in Ireland recently, or are you planning to come over?
Yeah, we did the live event in Dublin. About a month ago. Looking at maybe doing another one. Had a great reception, great turnout. It was an amazing night. So yeah, we loved it. Loved all the fans over there in Ireland, of not our fans, Manchester United fans. But yeah, we had a great turnout where we did our live event. It was myself, Steve, and McCullough, Joe, and also Brian McClare joined us as well. So it was a really top night, one of the best nights I've ever had, to be honest with you. So yeah, hopefully we'll do that again soon.
Well, if you're coming I'm a bit closer to Belfast than Dublin, so if you're ever coming there, I'll be sure to come along.
I know a lad who was chatting to me from Belfast. He's like, you got to come to Belfast next time. So yeah, we'll add it to the list, definitely, 100%.
Okay, I'll see you then. I'll see you later.
See you later, Cal. Thanks for having us on, bro. Take care.
Anytime. All right, see you later.